How to make your daily routine more interesting. Hey, you don't want a boring life. You want to have opportunities every single day to make things a little bit spicier, a little more exciting. Today I'm going to share some tips with you that I know will be helpful because they've helped me as well. So I've used the following tips in my own life as a consistent way of making it so that my routine is not boring, and so it's a little bit more exciting. I know these will help you. For example, I call them pockets of joy, promise perspectives, office blocking, and relationship remodeling. So let's jump in. Number one, create as many pockets of joy as you possibly can. In other words, think about the pockets of time that you have where things aren't necessarily scheduled. For example, you might have a meeting here and a meeting there. What do you do in between? When you're driving from your home to your work, what are you doing on the commute? I'd like for you to consider for yourself what you're listening to, what you're doing during those times, because that can become a nice pocket of joy. Now, that could be listening to a podcast or the news radio or music. You choose. I would love if you want to put in the comments what you do during those times, because those are things that we just don't think about. But if we intentionally go towards something that brings us joy between a meeting and another meeting, or a commute from home and to the office, or the office and back home, man, that can really change the way that we show up for the people in our lives and bring us the most joy. Example could also be waiting in the doctor's office. Think of that. You're always on time. The doctor never is. I don't know why that's allowed, but you show up in the lobby, you're sitting there waiting, and you're looking around and everyone's on their phone, right? And that's cool. Maybe that's their place of joy. Maybe they're just passing the time. But if you intentionally utilize that time as a pocket of joy, I want you to think about that phrase, pocket of joy. This is a chance where I can get caught up on something. Maybe I can make an interesting slideshow about my kid's last trip. I can, my wife does that when she's on her phone. That's like a joyful experience for her, to make a reel for Instagram to share all the fun things the kids just did. I love that she does that, because then she's always happy. Even consider the interim of time with the bathroom. I mean, that might be a little bit personal, if you will, but think about that. Some people now go in there and spend half an hour on the toilet. Okay, well, what are you doing with your time? Pockets of joy. Maybe you could be reading or listening to something. Maybe you could actually leave the phone charging and go into the restroom. But the point is, what do you do in the pockets of joy? There are times throughout your day that are unscheduled. How are you filling them, and with what goodness can you fill? I hope that you'll put that in comments. I'd love to see what you do, because some of the things I like to do is I like to listen to music that uplifts me, listen to a book on Audible. I like to write thank you notes. I like to write in my journal, pockets of time. It helps a lot. Number two, promise perspectives. Change things up to meet your promises. Now, think about the things that you do every single day that you absolutely have to get done. I know for me, I've made some promises that I'm going to go to the gym every day, and eventually that can get kind of boring, right? How can you make it so that this is more interesting every single day? Well, I realized that I got into this rut and this routine of, okay, I'm driving to the gym, I'm going inside, I'm doing my workout, I get back in the car, I drive home, right? It becomes a little monotonous or mundane. So I thought, how can I change this up and make it more fun? Well, first of all, I could just change the music I listen to. I used to actually listen to a podcast, and eventually I realized I wasn't giving enough energy to my workouts when I listened to the podcast, because I was focused on the podcast. The workout is for my body and my health, and so I think, how can I give the most energy to it? Well, the quickest way is to change the music and to change what I'm listening to, what I'm consuming, so I might have a little shot of caffeine or something that'll get me all ready to go and do my workout. That helps me change things up and get excited for the workout. And then I thought, here I am driving every day. What if, instead of doing the cardio I'm getting bored with, sitting on a recumbent bike, maybe I should just ride my bike to the gym. And so now what I do to change things up, put my helmet on, put in my music. What music am I listening to? Oh, come on. I want you to comment what music you listen to when you work out. Mine is Tame Impala, Daft Punk, Ben Folds. I mean, you've got yours, I've got mine. Empire of the Sun. What pumps you up? As I'm riding on my bike, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling the sun. I don't care what the weather is. Even if it's rainy, I'm still going. And I go do my workout, I feel better. It changes up the routine. It's a wonderful thing to change your promise perspective every day. Now let's talk about once you're in the gym. I hope you're working out and doing good things for your body, but I know that if I just use the same Olympic bar every single workout, and I did the same pull-up every single workout, eventually that gets a little boring. So I change it up. I grab the dumbbells instead, or I might do the cable machines instead. I might do some other variation on a pull-up rather than just this way. I might do this way or that way. There's all kinds of ways that we can change things up, and it just keeps life interesting. And what I like about this is these are all in line with keeping promises to myself. I love talking about how we don't need to set a goal when we can make a promise. And if we keep those promises to ourselves, our life is going to be awesome. So this is just how we make life more interesting. So number 3 would be office blocking. Yeah, what does that mean? That means creating spaces at work for certain aspects of work. In other words, if you have an office at your home or at your workplace, I want you to think about where you do certain things. For example, if I'm sitting at my laptop with my nice setup, it's very comfortable. I could stay there all day. Obviously, that would be great. It's a comfortable chair. The laptop's at the right height. I've got my monitors here. I've got everything I need. I could sit there for 8 hours, easy, no problem. However, I want to make things more interesting, right? So I do office blocking. So this is a place where I do administrative tasks such as emails and writing people back about stuff. That's pretty much all I'm doing there, as well as a Zoom call, because it's a nice setup for my virtual events. Office blocking means I also have a chair over here. It's a nice brown chair over here. Brown chair is actually where I have all of the people that come to my office sit. So then I can just turn and I can talk to them, and it's like we've blocked off a different part of the office. So that's a nice piece. They sit there, I sit here. Now, I have a gray chair right here. I actually get out of my comfy chair and sit in that other comfy gray chair, and that's where I write in my journal and I write my blog posts. It's kind of a creative chair for myself. And then I also like to do this. I'll go outside and sit on the front porch. I'll turn on the fan overhead, and I'll just sit there and read. That's a nice thing during the day when I have a lot of research to do. For example, it takes a lot of work to come up with these videos and the content I'm doing. I'll create a lot of this while I'm sitting on the front porch. I want you to think about your office and how you office block, because there are places you should write, places you should create, places you should think, and that will really help in making life and your daily routine more interesting. And number 4 is the relationship remodel. Now, for example, when you think about waking up every single morning, if you have kids like my wife and I do, the kids get ready for school, they go racing off, and life gets a little bit monotonous after you do that 5 days a week for 9 months. Eventually you're like, man, this is getting boring. So what we like to do is we like to change things up a little bit on the kids. We don't tell them what we're doing, we just do it. And it makes things more fun. For example, we have a little Bluetooth speaker right next to the kitchen. So we can just turn on whatever kind of music we want to put the family in the mood for the day. So for example, I love Earth, Wind, and Fire. So we turn on, do you remember the 21st night of September? You know, those kind of songs. It's so cool. And my kids come downstairs, they're teenagers, they're like, ugh. And then they hear that music and they start dancing with me and mom. And we have a good time. That's just one little way to change up the routine of something, but it's a relationship remodel for us. In other words, we're continually letting them know that we're caring about them, we're thinking about them. As my wife makes their lunches, she might change things up just a little bit, put a little note in there, let them know that she loves them. Those types of things make a big difference to the children and to us for our own joy. And then there's the spouse. Hey, if you have a partner, a spouse, somebody you love, I hope that you're dating them. I hope that you're making things interesting. In other words, I like to take my wife on a date on a weekly basis. We don't do the same thing every time. You know, we could easily just go to dinner and talk about the kids and then come home and go to bed. Well, that's good to at least do that. But if we're talking about spicing up life, can I take her to a movie one time and we don't even do dinner? Maybe we just grab something quick. Maybe another time we just do dessert and we go dancing. Hey, that's a fun one. Sometimes we'll just go on a bike ride and we'll stop somewhere to get a nice, refreshing drink. All of these types of things are little shifts that can change the relationship remodel that I like to talk about. But that's keeping the promise to the person we love and making it so that they feel loved. In fact, I just got home from a trip right before recording this. I found it interesting. I walked into the bathroom where my wife and I share a bathroom, and there was a little bottle of cologne, and it said, it was from my wife, and it said, "Can't wait to smell this on you." And I was like, oh, I like that. I'm glad that my wife is practicing this as well. So as I was saying, when I go to the gym, I change things up a bit. You know, I use different weights and those types of things. That's all in line in keeping promises with myself. What I think you'd probably find interesting that would help amplify that as well is I've made another video that I think would really be helpful to you. All you have to do is type in this title on this channel to find it. It's titled, "How to Be the Best at What You Do." I think you're going to enjoy that video, so go check it out. It'll help you keep some amazing promises to yourself. And I also have a free gift for you. I would love for you to check this out. It's so helpful. It's actually going to change the way that you identify what you've maybe not yet clarified and can now magnify in improving your life and making things a little bit more interesting for yourself. So if you'll go to jasonhewlett.com/ICM, I hope you'll grab that assessment. It's called the ICM process. It'll actually change the way that you live your life, the way that you keep promises, the way that you show up for the people in your relationships. Maybe it'll help you with your pockets of joy and some of these other things we've talked about. I know it'll help you as it's helped me. Go check it out. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.